This week on the Trent Out Loud Podcast. What Josh should not do is make up a lie. What he should do is say, yo, I held a gun and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I'm not apologizing for anything that I don't think is wrong. If you want to suspend me for that, fine, go ahead. But for me, there's nothing wrong with it. And that's actually what he feels. That's why he continues to do it. He doesn't think there's anything wrong with it. Ja Morant and his team have been leaking a story that the gun was not real, that it was a toy gun, to lessen his punishment. And of course, in hopes that, he doesn't lose his Nike deal, et cetera, and maybe his suspension is not as severe. But it's exactly what I said in my first podcast. This is my third podcast now that I've done about this. And the first podcast, if you go back and listen, episode 20, I said that Ja should never have apologized because what he was doing is no different than what millions of people do all day on Instagram. And he really is just a product of being a hip hop kid. Everybody in the comments on IG tore me apart. They were like, yo, he's not a rapper. Yo, he's not an actor. The NBA is a privately owned company and you're signing on as an athlete and you're supposed to be a role model and you can't do those sort of things. And I get that. And I didn't have a problem with the suspension. But what I said is that Josh shouldn't have apologized the way that he did. Yo, Donald Trump has set the blueprint for how you should handle cases like this. As soon as you come out and you're like, yo, I'm sorry, this is what I did, et cetera, then you just leave the door open for people to do whatever you want. Josh should have come out and said, yo, I was in the club, I was in the strip club, I held a gun, and there's nothing wrong with it. You do something, you suspend me, that's on you, but I'm not apologizing. I flashed a gun, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. That's what he should have done. And there's a lot of people that don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, the second time he did it, he sent out another apology. Now that it's getting hot, and now people are talking about suspending him for 50 games, maybe a whole season, and he might lose over $100 million, and he might lose, the Nike contract and etc. Now he's coming out and being like, well, now that I think about it, he's not even really taking my advice, because he should come out and just own his ish. But what he's doing now is coming out and being like, actually, I didn't really do anything wrong. It was really just a toy gun. And that's not really owning your ish, right? Like he's trying to come up with something that's actually opposite. Like he's actually taking another part of Donald Trump's book. Now he's just lying because we all know that's not a toy gun. If it was a toy gun, you would have seen the little orange dot on the tip and the guy wouldn't have moved the camera. It wouldn't have been such a big deal. And it wouldn't have taken you, a month to come out and say, oh, by the way, it was a toy gun. So we know it's not a toy gun, and making up a lie to try to get out of it, it's just making everything worse. And Adam Silver was on someone's podcast, or he was on an interview or something, and he said that really what the problem is gun safety. Not so much just a gun, but it's using a gun as a toy. And he doesn't feel like that represents the NBA. And again, like I said, that is Adam Silver. That is the league, and they can do whatever they want. That's their league. It's a privately owned company. I get that 100%. But what Josh should not do is make up a lie. What he should do is say, well, it's too late now, but he should have said, yo, I held a gun and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I'm not apologizing for anything that I don't think is wrong. If you want to suspend me for that, fine, go ahead. But for me, there's nothing wrong with it. And that's actually what he feels. That's why he continues to do it. He doesn't think there's anything wrong with it. Ja feels like he's living that rapper lifestyle, right? And that's what these rappers do. And that's what tons of people do on Instagram every day. And Ja wants to be able to do that, but he also doesn't want to lose his NBA contract and he doesn't want to lose his endorsements. But I just think it would have been better off for him if he would have just owned it and said, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. He would have had more people backing him. And I don't think that he still would have gotten suspended, but I just don't think things would have been so severe. Coming out and apologizing when you actually don't think there's anything wrong with that, that's what's making it worse, and people are going to punish you for that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy, Trent Out Loud. Peace!